Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Reva with Quality Sewing, and you know what we're going to do today? We're going to talk about doing embroidery on ball caps. And it's really easy to do, but there are some things that make it better. And number one is the machine you're doing it on. And I'm going to talk about this, and not everybody has a multi-needle, but we are going to be specifically talking about the multi-needle because that is how we're going to be getting the best results on hats. And the main reason why is a ball cap has a curve to it, right? A standard embroidery machine that is a tabletop machine is flat. So to get a curved item onto a flat hoop means you're going to have to manipulate, distort, and really make the hat crabby. Okay, so we're going to talk about doing it on a multi-needle. And then also one thing to note is that a multi-needle has a large free arm, so it makes it really easy for the hat to go onto the machine. Okay, so now the other thing that you need when you're doing embroidery on ball caps is you want to use stabilizer. Now the stabilizer is important just with as any embroidery is you want to make sure that your item is stabilized. And if you have a hat that has the white on the inside, guess what? It's called buckram. It is not stabilizer. It is structure for the shape of the hat. So when you're stitching your hat and it's on the round, even if it has that buckram in there and it's stiff, what's going to happen is that the hat can push and shift back and forth. So you're not really getting great registration necessarily. Sometimes we get lucky, but in general, you're going to get shifting of that. So that's where the stabilizer really comes in handy because then everything gets tacked to the same spot on the stabilizer. So it no longer will do the shifting, okay? So now let's talk about cap stabilizer. You may not have cap stabilizer. This one is a 4 by 7 inch piece. In the past, we've had it on a 4 inch by 120 foot roll, but I don't think they make that anymore. So let's talk about how you can best get your own, because we all have rolls of stabilizer, right? And I prefer myself the heavyweight tearaway stabilizer for my hats. Oh, and by the way, if you're intimidated by hats, don't be. They're so easy and fun to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, this is a 15-inch roll of stabilizer, and I'm simply going to cut myself a 4-inch strip of the stabilizer. Just use my little ruler here. And I'm just going to cut a 4-inch strip, and you can cut yourself a bunch of these all at one time if you want to, and then that way you have a lot that you can go for later. And then what I do is I'm going to cut it in half, and this is, like I said, the 15-inch, so we're going to go for the 7-inch, and we're good to go. Okay, I only need the one piece, so let's talk about how we're going to hoop that hat. Now, the hats, like I said, they are curved. I think this one has the buckram in it. See how that one has the white stuff in it? That's buckram. It is, let me see if I can, there we go. There we go. That white right there is not stabilizer. It is structure for the cap. See how that one's nice and firm? And this one is called a soft. See how it's not, it's not so firm, but that's another reason why we need the stabilizer. Okay, so what we're going to do to hoop the hat is I am going to come over here and on the side of the machine here, or the side of the cabinet, or if you have a stand, it would be on the stand as well, wherever you want to put it. This is called a mounting jig, and it's one of the 3 pieces that you need to do a hat. This is basically a round table for you to hoop your hat on. Then you have a hoop for your ball cap, and you have a driver that goes on the machine, and we're going to put this on in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and slip this onto the machine. Now, you notice there's a couple of pieces to it. I have a lock and an unlock here. The unlock will allow me to take this piece off. That's what holds the hat on. And then there are clips on the sides. Now there are different types of cap hoops. Some of them have like a spring that comes over and clips in place, but still the similarities are there on what we're going to do. Now here's the rule. If you have a hard time ever doing a ball cap, it means you're trying too hard, because ball caps are so easy to do and they're easy to work with. So when you're putting your hoop on the jig, just relax, let it be there, and then we're going to slide it on. Now I'm going to come up kind of close here on the camera there, and you're going to see that there is a little rectangle right here. Can you see him right there? Right there. There's one here, and there's one on the back side down here. Those correspond with the placement of there's little rollers. And the hoop will go up underneath that roller and fall in that divot, and it locks it into place. Okay? So all we need to do is have that placed so it's going to go into that section. The other thing to know is that you see this cutout right here, right in front. There's that nice little cutout. There's also a protruding spot here in the center top of the jig, and so that is going to match up with that. But let's get started. We're just going to set this down, and then I'm going to grab onto the sides, down here, the sides here of the hoop. Hold on to that, and I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to slide it on. Now, when you're sliding it on, we're not going to push it, because we might push the whole machine and cart out of whack. Put your hands behind, and I take the heel of my thumbs and pinch it on. Okay, now it's in place. Now, if you're trying to do that and it's far too difficult to do, it means you're trying too hard, and you're probably going in at an angle like this, and it doesn't want to go on. So just let it set, go straight in, pinch it into place. Easy peasy. Now, when we're going to take it off, I'm going to show you now, because when we have the hat on there, it's a little bit more difficult to see with the camera. So here are those little rollers, and at the top of the rollers, it has a little, looks like a little Mickey Mouse ear, right on the very top. I'm going to put my thumbs there, right on that. I'll show you with this one. And then I put my hands on that handle that's on the hoop, and push with your thumbs and pull with your fingers, and it just pops right off. Okay, easy peasy. Okay, let's get this guy back up. Okay, now let's put the hat on here. This is really fun. Now, when you take your hat out of the box or wherever you get your hat, if it has cardboard in here, remove the cardboard, because again, that's not stabilizer. And but get that cardboard out, and then you also are going to want to we're going to go over here. So on the hat, did we switch? There we go. On the hat, inside the hat, you have the sweatband. Okay, you want to make sure you flip that sweatband up out of the way like that. Does that make sense? You can kind of see it from this side, right? I flipped it up, because if you stitch your hat with that sweatband down and the threads catch it, you might get a weird pucker here. It's also going to be very uncomfortable to the wearer, and your ball caps a lot. They're very particular on how that ball cap fits. So now what we're going to do is take our piece of stabilizer, and I'm just going to place it right on top. Now there are little teeth on that mounting jig, and I'm just going to set it right on top. Again, this is not hard. I've flipped back that the sweatband, and I'm just going to set it right down on top of the cap frame. Just set it there. Now this little guy is going to come in, and the little teeth, see how it has the little teeth? I'm sorry, making our camera guy just crazy here. It has the little teeth. These teeth go in the seam between the bill and the front of the cap. No matter what style of ball cap hoop set that you have. They all have little teeth on either the spring that comes over the top or this one, and they always go right in that seam line, and that's what's going to help hold the cap horizontally straight. Okay, so this one is pretty easy because it's just I'm gonna set it down in here, and it's just going to go right into the little grooves right there, and I'm going to go and turn the lock on underneath, and that lock is going to give me, listen, hear that ratchet? That's what's going to do. Now, my hat is all kinds of crazy right here, so what I'm going to do is I am going to get him in place so I have the seam. The cap is in this, the cap holder is in that seam all the way from here to here. And then I can shimmy it a little bit. If I got him in crooked, I can shimmy it over so he's kind of straight. Then, let me get this one in a little bit more. He's a little bit far. Okay, now all I have to do is push it straight down, and now he's locked into position. He's good to go. However, there's some more we want to do because we don't want to leave this all flopping down here. So that's where these little clips come in. They look like a binder clip, but he's got a curve, you know, a bend to one of the little guys there. Okay, so these are going to go down, and there's a spot on the hoop, see this part right here, that we're going to clip the hat to. So I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to smooth it down just nicely. I'm not being harsh, not being firm or anything. I'm just smoothing it nicely down, and I'm clipping one side, then I'll clip the opposite side, then I'll go back and do the second one on that side and the second one on this side. So unlike the original styles of cap frames that we had to work with, you had to manhandle them and you had to force them in. This is so easy. Now, to take it off, all I'm going to do is put my little thumbs up on that spot and pull it right off straight. Now, here's the thing. There's really nothing holding this except for that stabilizer. So hold on to the handles of the hoop. You want to refrain from touching or manhandling this at all. So really, the hooping is the last thing you're going to do, but we did it first because I'm going to also show you how to put the driver on. Okay, so I wanted to have that hoop ready to go, the hat ready to go. So now, if you look at the machine comes with the standard arm, and this arm right here is really easy to change out your different flat hoops. To take it off, it's so simple. There's actually just these little screws right here, and you just unscrew them and take the screw out. And I'm going to set it on the table over here. There's 2 screws, and when you take those off, you simply lift this up and take it off the machine, and now it's ready for whatever fancy or fun hoop that you have. Now, when you get your hoop, your driver in the box with your hoop, it has the 2 screws on top. We're going to take these out, and we're going to use these 2 screws. Not that one because I just dropped it, but we'll use 2 screws. And then, and I'm going to set this one over on the table just for a moment because I want to show you that there was those 2 screws there, and those were holding this stable and not so it doesn't shift. And you take those off before you put on the machine. The other thing that you have is on the bottom side, you have these big screws. Do not take these out. Just loosen them up because the mounting part on the back, the bracket on the back of the machine, this is going to slide right in there, and then we tighten the screw down on it. If you take these screws out, it just makes your life unhappy. So the big screws, never take those out. You only take the little ones in and out. But the cool thing is you don't have to have any special tools. They're just thumb screws. Okay, now to put this on, the cylinder part goes toward you, and you're going to notice that it has the same rollers and the same little ears on those rollers that the mounting jig has. So it's going to fit on the same way. But to put this on the machine, I'm going to hold, well, let's talk about the anatomy of the cap driver for a minute. So the cap driver is going to allow the machine to, can you see how that's moving? It's going to allow the hoop to turn, okay? So instead of being flat, it's going to allow it to go back and forth. So there's a couple of things that we need to make sure that we have this on and that all 4 of our screws are tight and in the right position. So in order to get this on, we're going to hold it by this top frame, and you'll notice that you have a little hole here and you have a little hole here. Those go on the pegs that are back on the mounting bracket that's on the machine. So hold on to that and slide the driver onto the machine. So we're going to come in here, and I'm holding those sides as a wing, and I'm going to lift that up and put the little pegs right through those holes. Now, the bottom pieces slipped into the mounting bracket, and I can feel them in there, and I just want to push a little bit so I know I'm seated all the way back. And the first thing that I do is I tighten those big screws that are on the bottom. The reason why I do that first is I very well might forget to do it if I don't do it first. Then I'm going to take a small screw and I'm going to put it to the right of each one of those little pegs and just tighten those screws up, and now we've got the cap driver is on the machine. Okay, so let's talk about getting the machine on, or I'm sorry, the hat on there. And we're going to put that little piece back on, and this just raises the bed up so it's a little bit more curved, and you get a little bit better stitch with it that way. Now, when we go to put the hat on, you're going to notice it doesn't want to go that way. So what you do is you rotate it 90 degrees, you slip it in there, and then you flip it back. And now, again, relax. You want to line up the pieces, and we're not going to push, because if you push, we might push the arm out of registration. So put your hand behind the the driver and clip it on. Oh, there we go. So just pinch it on, don't push. And if at any time you ever push the hoop out of the way and you move that arm and it's not the machine doing it, but you do it, turn off the machine, turn it back on, and start again. Okay, so let's take a look over here at bringing in a design. So when you're bringing in a design, and I'm just going to bring in a capital A because it's going to be really easy to see it. So now, if you take a look up at the top, it says it has 2 hoops showing, and you'll notice that they are not flat looking hoops. These are the cap frames. So the machine automatically knows that there's a cap frame on the machine, and when we choose the item that we want to use and we set it, it's going, and we do edit end, it automatically turns it upside down so it's ready to stitch. And that's really awesome because a lot of times, well, most times on commercial machines, you have to do the coding and remember to rotate things over and hope that you don't hit a hoop. Okay, so back on the machine, we are ready to go. And I'm going to raise my design up, which means it's going to put the base of the A as close to the bill as I can. And then we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're just going to stitch it out. So I'm going to go to Embroidery, and there it is right there. And what I want to do now, actually, let me return. I skipped one thing because this is really cool. There is a little picture of the embroidery machine with a camera or a magnifying glass, and it lets me see right on, it's a live picture of what's in the hoop, and so I can move it left or right until I know that that is centered exactly how I want it to be. And since we have the bill, that seam between the bill and the front of the cap in with those teeth right in there. We don't have to worry about it horizontally being crooked. We know it's right. We just have to line it up right where we want it to be, and then we can turn off excuse me, turn off that camera, and we can go to embroidery, and then we can say lock and go, and we're off to the races. So that's all there is to doing a hat. They're really quite simple, so don't be intimidated. Have fun with it, and just do lots of hats. Okay, well, we'll see you next week at our next